very good morning to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Sports Check on this first Monday of December 2023. And it is a day when we're going to have what I would call a very fast program. And it's going to be touching from base to base to base as we talk to champions and those who work with champions all around the country. Conversations around Sports Check, I'll be giving them to you briefly. But what is lined up in our newsroom today? Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua will launch the disbursement of the cash transfer to families affected by El Nino rains in Garissa and Tana River counties. That is happening today. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission is going to be holding a briefing in Kisumu today, and also the inaugural Kenya National Union of Teachers National Elected Women Leaders Roundtable that is taking place at the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development offices. So those are our main news stories that we shall be looking at. And from the sporting side, let's get straightforward. Kenya has been hosting the Sekafa Under-18 Boys Championships in Kisumu and Kakamega counties. We'll be joined via Zoom from Kisumu by Yusuf Mosi, who's the competitions director of Sekafa, who's going to be joining us later via Zoom. Then we also have got the Secretary General of NOC. And speaking now, by the way, we're about, 235 days to the Paris Olympics? So what are the preparations and what is in stock, especially now that we saw the Kenya basketball team, the 3x3 women's team, get to the universal qualification round after winning the FIBA 3x3 Africa Cup in Cairo last night. So we shall also be speaking to them, and they will be joining us via Zoom from Cairo, Egypt, where they are, because they will be traveling back tomorrow. So let us get them in good time. Now, our conversation now this morning is going to start with swimming. And when we talk about swimming, it's being changed. Number one, a change of name. And number two, we won't get into what is very much politics, but also the competition side of it, because we have a Kenyan team that has traveled today. I'll be doing the introductions of our guests in a short while. But meanwhile, our sign language translator is Lucy Mwaura. Our hashtag is Sports Check. So let's talk about junior swimming in Kenya, because that's where the focus is for the federation that is there in place as they do that, Kenya Aquatics. And in studio, they've got this trophy that they were awarded when they finished. This is at the 8th Africa Aquatics Zone 3 Swimming Championships. Took place from the 23rd to the 5th of November in Kigali. Kenya finished third. Tanzania were top and Uganda were there. And for Aquatics Kenya, they say this is something to celebrate, given the story of the last 2 years. And in studio with me on my immediate left, I've got Collins Marigiri, Secretary, Kenya Aquatics. We have got to get used to this. Kenya Aquatics, formerly known as the Kenya Swimming Federation, but globally, it's now World Aquatics, Aquatics Africa, and that. And we've got Peter Mwangangi, who was the coach of the national team that won this trophy and brought it to the country. And they came back to the country last week. That's the story. And I'll start with you, Peter. Just a background, because we know competition for Kenya when it comes to swimming was a no-no. And this was from World Aquatics. We know there is a long story about the leadership of the federation. But what's the background that saw Kenya get back to competing?
First of all, I'd like to say a big thank you to you hosting us today.
You're welcome.
And if I can take you back, we've had a lot of ups and downs as a federation, and which affected our swimmers not being able to participate internationally. But with the new office in place right now, we have seen our country, our athletes, getting back into the international platform. And from the result we had last week from Kigali, you can see that we are back, and we are back in a big way.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, just to mention is that the Stabilization Committee had to work with the government. It's composed of somebody from South Africa, the boss of Aquatics Uganda, and the NOC SG. How well has that gone, such that we can say we can now move forward?
I'd like to thank NOC and the Stabilization Committee for the work they have done to get swimming back into the international platform. And as you all know, basically we've had a tough time. And the Stabilization Committee goal was to ensure that our country gets back into the international platform. We, in conjunction with the National Olympic Committee, they had a roadmap. They have put in place a roadmap with the guidance of World Aquatics to ensure that the country gets back to where it's supposed to be in terms of ensuring that our athletes are well taken care of, our athletes are able to participate internationally, and actually we had been suspended. So the suspension is lifted, and as well later in the year, early in the year, we got banned. And you know what it means to have a ban? You know, that means it's so tough for the athletes, for the officials, even for the parents, actually. You know, everything, the entire fraternity, swimming fraternity. And through the roadmap that the Stabilization Committee had in place, it led to Kenya having an election, which was actually overseen by the World Aquatics and with the Stabilization Committee, under the Stabilization Committee, and also the National Olympic Committee. And now the mantle was handed over to Kenya Aquatics to now start run the federation as it's supposed to.
Okay, well, very well. And now let me talk to you, Peter. You know, as a coach, when that decision was made and you're told you can get back to this, because even for anyone who's an athlete, you know, trying to get back when there was a situation like that, it's hard to compel even a parent to have their child swim at competitive level. What was the impact of it?
First, as coaches, we took it very positive. First, because we've been training kids, all the athletes. You see a talent getting lost because of the years which have taken us to come back to the international forum again. First, parents were very happy. Even I, as a coach, I was very happy seeing our flag there again after swimming with suspended member federation, which is a very big shame. So for me, lifting that flag in Rwanda meant everything, and I was very grateful to see now Kenya getting back to where it was, and I'm quite sure within no time we are going to get on top again.
All right, the local scene, just tell us how this, how it was at that time and when it was announced that Kenya can now get back to competition.
Of course, within the country, the different counties or different associations which organize competitions at grassroots, it was taken very positively, given that now we were training kids not knowing where we are heading because there was no any sign of light at the end of the tunnel. At least you could see you are training, people are working very hard, but there was no that sure guarantee your swimmer or your athlete is going to make to the international platform. So it motivated parents, it also motivated us as coaches. Yeah.
All right. Now let's talk about the process which you had to go through so that you could eventually select the team that went to Rwanda and performance: 9 gold, 28 silver, 23 bronze. What was the background of selecting this team?
Before the selection of the team, we had a national time trial, which is a level playing field for every athlete, and which we invited all the athletes from all over the world, because we have swimmers who actually live abroad in diaspora, and also we have our local swimmers. We had to create a level playing field for everyone. So first of all, we had our national time trial, which most of the swimmers actually graced the event and showcased their talent. And from there, we were able to now do a selection for the team that went to Kigali, and then the other team that was actually left this morning for Mauritius. So we were looking at their times. And also what we've done as a national federation right now is to have what we call the TS system, where swimmers are able to swim in different events in comparison to their abilities. So we're giving chances to all the athletes. We don't want the scenario where you're calling an athlete who are actually able to swim in the Olympics to come and take part in a regional event. So for us to be able to develop the teams, so we're starting from the regional level to Africa level, which is now continental, and then international, continental, and then the international, which is more of a, now the World Championships and the Olympics. So the team that went to Ghana Zone 3, it is equally a very strong team, which based on their times, based on the ability in different events, and also based on the age. Looking at what we had, the team we had in Kigali, we had swimmers from the age of 10. We are 10, 12 years. That is the foundation of swimming. So we develop, we have a good foundation. That means we'll be able to have swimmers to feed in to the top group, the national team that will be capable of swimming in the Olympics.
All right. Now, Peter, let me come to you because he's mentioned the tier system. And let me use, by the way, just before I go to Peter, Collins just mentioned this to me. The time trial, which pool did you use? Because in Kenya, we only have 150-meter pool proper.
Oh, we use Kasarani. Kasarani is actually an Olympic-sized pool and internationally accredited. Yeah, we use Kasarani.
Very good. Yeah. That was important because I know for most of the competitions you use 25-meter pools, local competitions.
Yeah, if we have long course events and short course events. So long course events we use the Kasarani, which is a 50-meter pool, and for the short course events we can take times from the county levels, because the counties also organize events, and most of the events from the county levels, unless it's a long course meet, they do on 25-meter pools.
All right. Yeah. So now let's talk about the tiers that he mentioned, Peter. Just let me use an example. 50-meter freestyle, which would be, the fastest events in swimming at global competition levels. How then do you place an athlete based on their times and capabilities? And using the Kenyan, using Kenya as one of the scenarios, because, for example, one of those who's there, who's in the team, Haniel Kudwoli, did set a national record in Dubai. So, for example, where would you place him in that team? How do you classify those athletes now?
First, as my colleague here said, first I'll recommend the tier system, given that it's giving each and every athlete equal platform. And he has given you a very good example of a situation whereby we don't need to call a swimmer who has been taking part in those international meets. For example, like
Emily Muteti.
Having done all those international meets to come and compete in Ghana Zone, whereby we have young and upcoming swimmers who are very vibrant and, of course, talented, and they can represent the country. So, in issue of Haniel Kudwoli, placing him, we deeply rely on the times. For example, taking Haniel for Ghana Zone, whereby he's not going to get that vigorous or serious competition for his level, is not going to be very helpful. So for you to place him, you need those international or more competitive events whereby he's going to be pushed and challenged to get maximum output out of him.
Okay, let me just ask a question, because people would ask, why not take him there? Because he's you can be assured of a gold from him.
Okay,
because that is what a Kenyan is what a Kenyan will ask. Why not take him there and bring the medals?
Okay, now that's a good one. You can take him there, but what will be the essence of taking him there and not getting enough competition, whereby is going to end up harding time because there's nobody to push him hard enough to improve on his time.
Okay.
So you can take him there, get a gold, but with poor performance. You can get somebody who is very young there, upcoming, go compete, get competition of his or a level, improve on time, but still miss the gold, but at the end of the day has improved, because at the end of the day, it's not the gold, it's the time. Yeah.
So the message you're putting forward is basically that what you want, especially with these youngsters, it's not the number of medals they are up, but it is an improvement.
Yeah.
Actually, to add on to what Coach Mwangangi has said, we want to have more swimmers participating in the Olympics. Now, when you look at the event like a regional event, like Kana Zone 3, it's not more of an Olympic qualifier. So we like to push Anil to go to an Olympic qualifier event. So that event will give him enough competition for him to make more progress to qualify for the Olympics. So it will not be good enough to just to give him an event where he can get a gold medal, but he has not made any times that will push him to the Olympic qualifier.
Sure.
For sure, like for example, right now, the team that is going to Mauritius, all these athletes have a chance to make it to the Olympics. Now, the most important thing is for them to push themselves and be able to get those times. Yes.
Let's talk about now the team that has traveled to Mauritius. This is the Olympic qualifiers Africa, and it's also a junior one. Let's talk about the junior competition first. Just give us a brief on that.
Pardon?
The junior competition, the Mauritius junior competition, then we'll talk about the Olympic one, the bigger one.
Oh, the junior competition, the Africa junior competition, is actually the biggest event, continental event, which comprises of athletes from the age of 14 to 18. And you know that is the prime time for most of our swimmers. True. And this event is very prestigious. It's an event that every single country in Africa takes it very seriously, and they all only feel actually their best. And at the moment, as Kenya has fielded its best, based on the top times, on the rankings, which we did in terms of the time selection. We had a criteria, and actually all these athletes have met the criteria, and we've selected the top athletes in all the age group, from the age of 14 all the way to 18. And we are looking at having one of the best results that this country has ever had since after the ban, which happened actually a few months ago. And we are looking for the best.
Now, just give us a background of, what paces you've got to take these athletes through as they prepare for a competition like this one, Peter.
Okay, first, what we usually do is, because most of the athletes come from different clubs and teams, we usually bring them together, organize form of something like team building. They get to know each other, get to interact with the coaches which they are the coaches they are traveling with. Then after that, we have a joint training, probably for a week or even more, depending on the nature of competition or the task at hand and the kind of preparation required. So after that, when doing the camp, you get to understand the behavior of the swimmers, their likes and of course their likes and their dislikes. You interact, you get to understand them on one-on-one level as a coach. Then after that, we usually get to prepare relay teams there. Even time them, check on the turns, those small aspects which might affect the overall team performance. Usually go through them, and then after that, we have one-on-one. They have one-on-one interactive session with the officials they are going to travel with. That is team manager, assistant coach, their chaperone. Then now everything is set to go.
Now, you mentioned about relays and the turns. Just give a background, because you can have a relay based on one specific event.
Sure.
you can say have the 50-meter freestyle, a relay on that. Then you've got one which involves the freestyle, the butterfly, the breaststroke, and the backstroke. Just how you prepare a team for such a one event?
First, for example, if it's freestyle, usually choose the fastest. If it's freestyle relay, then once it comes to medley relay, you have to go one by one because you have to get the best in butterfly, get best in breaststroke, get best in backstroke, and get best in freestyle. And that one is usually narrowed down to the times each swimmer has in the specific events they are going to be given. So that's how we allocate the relays.
Now, let's take a look at this side, the junior side. Just give us a highlight of some of these youngsters who are going in Mauritius.
The team that has gone to Mauritius, I'd like to highlight some of the events that have taken part in the last let's say 2 months in preparation for this event. You've seen we have had swimmers like Hanil, for example, performed really well in Dubai.
Yes.
Broke a national record, which had stood there for like 13 years in breaststroke. We have Johari. Johari is based in the UK. He's been training there. This guy has been phenomenal in terms of times. Every single event, he's been like shedding off a second or two. And we have Maria. We have Maria Bianchi. That she's been on top of things. We have basically Jamal, Bianca. Yeah, we have Akil, Nathan, all these swimmers. We have Angel Samoe. All these athletes, when they came to Kenya, actually during the national time trial, you see from the last time trial we had in May, the progress they have made. There's been phenomenal change in terms of the improvement, in terms of their times. And you could see even in terms of overall performance, overall performance in the strokes, in the technique, they have done tremendous change in them. And even in their fitness, because there's a lot that we're putting into an athlete for them to perform well. They have to put in a lot of time in land training, and fitness, also. Looking at their nutrition. All of them, you can see they have done a lot. They've been in camps just to be ready for this event. So what they put in, actually we are looking at them coming out during this event.
Okay. Now you mentioned nutrition because you just put nutrition there. There's Phelps. One day spoke about his diet, the number of eggs you take in a day. A crate would be done in 3 days. What is the nutrition regime for a swimmer and that fitness regime, Peter?
Okay, first usually have a nutrition specialist. There are foods which are not allowed to take during or even before an event, and that one is usually more advised by the nutritionist.
What are some of the things that are not allowed? I know, for example, a football coach would not allow anyone to take chapati or meat.
Okay, on our side, what I am aware of is sodas. When you're expecting to do an event, you don't take sodas or those foods with sugar, high content of sugar. That one is a bit discouraged. Or fatty foods is not encouraged. I don't know the reason because I'm not a nutritionist, but
they should be telling you.
Yes,
because you're the coach. In fact, that's a challenge. Tell them. Tell me why.
Actually, the one about the sugar, I know. What happens if you take too much sugar, and you see swimming is a sport which depends on seconds, more on seconds and microseconds. And sugar, sometimes breaking down sugar needs a lot of oxygen, if I'm not wrong. So now, what happens, you need more oxygen affinity for that. And when you are swimming, remember, breathing is controlled. So that keeping on breathing and breathing every time, it will have a negative impact on your time. Because anytime you breathe, that's a second, either a second or microsecond added. So the more you take more sugar, the more that high oxygen affinity is required in your body. That then you'll end up breathing more, adding time then. Yeah.
Actually, it hampers the supply of oxygen to your muscles, because you need that oxygen, sufficient oxygen, to be able to, to swim well, into the muscle, to be able to kick, pull faster. But when you lack that oxygen, definitely that's where you find a swimmer now trying to go easy, breathing more, for them to be able to get that oxygen into the body.
Land training, because it's not everything is about water. How do you develop that power such that they can get the energy to push their resistance through water?
Okay, there are two aspects. You can choose to go to gym, or you can decide to do just normal workout, that is running. You can choose to run uphill, cycling, skipping also helps a lot. The jumpings, all of the jumping jacks, those are the ones which somebody can do without the guidance where required, because those ones you can do on your own, they are easy. Then there is that one for going to gym and getting a technician under you. Depending on the swimmer and the needs of the swimmer, usually exposed swimmer, depending on the event is taking. For example, you can't take a level 1 swimmer to gym.
Yes.
You can't take a level 1 swimmer to those high-end workout whatevers. So let's say, for example, you're waiting to do an international event, or you're waiting to do just a big event. Those ones, the event is going to narrow down the kind of workout or dry land training you require. Yeah.
The levels that is mentioned, just give us those grades.
Like Coach Mwangangi mentioned, core strength. Core strength is important for any swimmer, because when you have a stronger core, you're able to kick faster, you're able to hold your stroke, you're able to be more efficient in the pool. So if you have, for example, what he said, a young swimmer who is an upcoming swimmer, you ensure that what they do is more of body weight exercises. Body weight exercises to be able to, to build their muscles and to be strong, especially when if you have a flyer. Flyers need a lot of push-ups. You can do a lot of push-ups, you can do a lot of dips, where you don't need to use weights.
Yeah.
But when you go to 15 years and 16 years older, and those swimmers who have already specialized in their events, because we have, by the time the swimmers get to around 15, 16, some of them start specializing. Yeah, you find a flyer, we do a lot of exercises that involve their shoulders.
Upper body.
Yes.
So because you need a very strong upper body to be able to pull quite efficiently and faster in your fly and even in breaststroke. So those swimmers actually can go to the gym, but we advise them to go and to be under supervision, because like now at the moment in the structures of the Kenya Aquatics, we want to engage. We want to engage a core strength coach. Actually, I've had an opportunity to talk to one of them that I know who's been working very good with the national teams, in rugby, and I don't want to mention his name.
No, I'll mention his name. His name is Jeffrey Kimani.
Yeah, that's one of the guys. So, when we engage such a kind of coaches in your team, basically the team gets an all-round development in terms of, if it's a flyer, there's specific exercises they'll be able to do in the gym. You just don't go into the gym and just push weights, You just need to go and work on specific muscles that helps you in your stroke. If there's a breaststroker, the same. Backstroke, the same. And there is someone who's a freestyler, the same. But all in all of them need to have very strong legs. And also endurance. Like Coach Mwangangi mentioned, endurance is key as well. So that is why sometimes key running comes in, cycling comes in, for them to be able to build the endurance.
Well, now let's talk about this, the senior athletes. These are the ones who are on course for Olympic qualification. Let's start with those who, may not have come down to, who may not have traveled down to Mauritius, but could be on course for an Olympic slot. Let's start there, Peter.
Pardon, I didn't get your question
Okay,
properly.
those who are, let's talk about Olympic qualification. We've got the African Championship
Sure.
in Mauritius, and there are those athletes who have been called up, to compete here. Are there those who may not have traveled down to Mauritius with their team, but have an opportunity through global competitions?
Yeah. There are those who made it and there are those who didn't make it because of various reasons. I find others having exams.
Yes.
Others have not been training hard because of various aspects. Maybe somebody has not been well. So those are factors we also consider. But if a swimmer or athlete doesn't have any underlying issues and has been training, the opportunity is always given equally.
Okay.
We have quite a number, and who actually had, for example, qualified for World Champs from the last World Champs, and also from the time trials that we did in May and November. During the selection, we actually broke down the selection into three. The first one was for the Kana, the Africa Aquatics. Nowadays it's no longer Kana, but we call it Africa Aquatics. Zone 3.
Zone 3.
Yeah. And the second selection was Africa Aquatics Junior Championships. And then there was a third selection, which was the World Champs. Okay. So we've already done the selection. And all this has been based on their highest world aquatic points. Highest world aquatic points.
Yes.
And so looking at the athletes that already we have them in the ones who are going to Doha, which will be in the month of February from the 2nd to the 18th, we already have a team in place. And these are actually our senior swimmers from the age of 19 to 22 there. And they are actually working really hard in preparation for that event.
The names, because that's what people...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the names we have Emily, who is a very seasoned swimmer. We have Maria Brunlena. We have Maina Monyo. Yes, we have Maina Monyo. We have Talib Saleh. So that is the quota we've been given by the World Aquatics.
Those are the four.
Those are 4 athletes we'll be taking to the World Championship in Doha, okay, in the month of February.
The African Championships now, which now creates a pathway for Olympic qualification.
Yes.
Just take us through those events, and you could share the platform on the different events where the athletes are competing with the Riyadh, Ravage, Okech, somewhere, and all those, and the individual events, especially for those who specialize.
Like in the fly, we're looking at having Akil Mutinda. Akil Mutinda is one of the best flyers we have, and
flyers is it's the butterfly event. Actually, you can use your arms to do a demonstration so that people get to know the difference between the butterfly and the breaststroke.
Yeah, fly, actually you're going with both hands, arms out, push back, and then when you come to the breaststroke is there and pulling, that is a breaststroke. Freestyle is alternate arms. In the breaststroke and fly, it's simultaneous. Arms go simultaneously. Backstroke and freestyle is alternate arms. Yeah.
So you're basically, to use a simple term, rowing. But in the butterfly, you over.
Yes.
Over.
Get your hands over your head and push back.
Then push back with a single kick.
Single.
Yeah, together, legs together. Yeah. Then in breaststroke, it's arms.
Then you bring them back here.
Yes.
Very well. So let's continue.
Yeah, like in the fly, we're looking at Aki Mutinda doing a tremendous job because he has specialized in that event. This athlete went to the Commonwealth in Trinidad and Tobago. He posted wonderful times. He did a PB and actually even got a national record.
Yeah.
So then we're coming to the breaststroke. We're actually banking on Anil to break another record. Yeah. This athlete, during his event, when he swam in Dubai just this month, 2 weeks ago, I think, he did a wonderful job. And he's actually very focused. I talked to him in the morning today. I talked to all the athletes. They were boarding, and they're all looking forward to, like, Coach, when we come back, we want to make sure we get an African record. And we break our national record, and as well as get an African record. So we have also swimmers like Maria.
Bianchi,
Yeah, she's also one of the powerful breaststrokers we have on the girls side. We have Sarah Mose, freestyle. She's an amazing, amazing swimmer, always been making tremendous progress.
And Sarah was also in Trinidad.
Yeah,
right?
she also represented our country in Trinidad. And also we have Angel Samoe. She's a long distance swimmer. 800 meters, 400 meters.
1500.
Yeah, 1500, making so much progress. From the last time trial, these swimmers have been actually shedding off 2, 3, 4 seconds every meet. So we are very optimistic. We actually have so much faith in them, and looking at these swimmers bringing home. They won those medals come here. African Championship, we not had for the longest time Kenya winning a medal in the African Championship, but with this team that we have so much faith in them that they will bring a medal home.
Where's the competition coming from at the African Championship? Which are the nations we would look out for? You know, if you mention South Africa, that's straightforward. I mean, I think there's a multi-sport event where I covered, and I think all the gold medals went to the South Africans.
Yeah, we have South Africa. We have the host Mauritius. The host Mauritius being home, they have a big team. Actually, they have made sure they have fielded swimmers in every single event. Looking at Kenya, we have one of the biggest teams. Yeah, we have one of the biggest teams. This is the first time we have taken more than 20 athletes. We have 22 athletes taking part. In the past, we've had only less than 8 athletes. Most of the countries have less than 10 athletes. We have fielded athletes in every single event. So then we have the likes of Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is very strong.
A few years ago, big team, almost 80.
A few years ago, we were in Zimbabwe for Canada Zone 3 and 4, and this team had 94.
They had 104.
Yeah, we had
104. Then followed by Mozambique.
But what we're looking at this time, we want to ensure that we give them a run for their money. So Kenya has come big, and our swimmers are in top gear, looking forward for that event.
The specific events Kenya is participating in, because number 22 says that it's actually targeted.
We are taking part in for all the freestyles, from the 50, 100, 200, we have 400, we're doing 800 meters. Yeah, the same. Okay, when you come to the breaststroke, we have 50, 100, 200. On the fly, we have 50, 100, 200. And then we have the IM. The IM, we have the 200 meters IM.
IM
is an individual medley. Yes, individual medley.
Where you do all 4 events.
Yeah, all 4 events. And each of them is 50 meters. And then we have now the backstroke, the same as 50, 100, and also 200 meters. Yes. And also, we have open water. We are taking part, our team is taking part in open water. Yeah, we have 3 athletes taking part in an open water event.
Okay, good. Peter, just explain open water swimming and vis-a-vis what we've got here, because that's the other event that is that Mauritius is hosting.
Okay, from my experience, the first open water I did in Zambia. Open water, just from the term open, that means it's not in a pool setup. It can be either in a dam, ocean, or a lake. So in this case, I think it's going to be ocean.
The ocean, yes.
Yeah. So open water usually cover past 2,000 kilometers, isn't it? It can't be 1,500. So
2,000 meters.
Yes. 2,000 meters. Sorry.
2,000 kilometers.
2,000 kilometers. 2,000 meters. So our swimmers will be participating in 5 kilometers?
5 kilometers.
Yeah, 5 kilometers. We have, 3? 1 from Nairobi. I think the 2 are from Mombasa. The one from Nairobi is Mr. James Amor. Yeah, Mr. James Amor. So open water, what I can say is a bit challenging because first we've been training. Those in Mombasa have been training in ocean. The one in Nairobi, we've been taking them to the Karen. Waterfront Karen. Sometimes it's a dam somewhere in Kiambu. We train there. So it's a bit challenging, but this is our second time. The first time we did in Zambia, at least our team won something. And
Where was the venue in Zambia? We know Zambia is landlocked for us.
it was a quarry. It was a big quarry whereby those guys blasted until it broke the water table, and then water filled the entire quarry. But it is safe. It doesn't have an inlet or outlet, so it's just a safe water, which doesn't have. There's no.
How do they keep it salt? Reduce the salinity. I mean, if it doesn't.
There's a procedure of treating it. It is usually done by the South African guys. Before we went there for swimming, it had been treated. Yeah, because it's a stagnant water. But it was quite impressive. Yeah.
Lessons learned from the Zambia tour, Peter. In open water swimming.
First, everything is possible. What you need to do is just start. The moment you ignite that fire of starting, sustaining is easy. The difficult part is starting. And from the reports we are getting now, given that now we are participating in the open water for the second time, is a good progress, because the first one, we just did it abruptly because we didn't have swimmers for open waters. So we were just asking the normal swimmers who were doing butterfly and other strokes, are you interested in open water? We can try it. So we ended up trying it in Zambia, and guys won. So that gave us at least a loophole. This thing is possible if we put attention in it. And now, the former Kenya Swimming Federation now is Kenya Aquatics.
Kenya Aquatics.
Which means it's going to involve all the disciplines, not swimming alone the way it was before. That means open water is there, diving, synchronized, and all water-related disciplines.
So where does water polo?
Yeah, it's there now.
It's there?
Yeah, it's coming up here. Yeah, and it's being given maximum attention. Very soon we are going to have a national water polo team. Yeah.
Because that is part of it. Because I'll be coming to these other sports and where Kenya gets to have them incorporated. The Olympic pathway. For a long time, Kenya has relied on the universality rule. So you are able to take one man and one woman to represent the country at that level. What's the pathway for Paris 2024?
We're looking at having more than 2 swimmers. And the Africa Junior Championships is one of the pathway that we are looking at, having our athletes get the times standard they're required to be able to participate in the Olympics. And if we, for example, get a B time, which is very, very possible from the crop of athletes we have right now, that gives our country an opportunity to have more athletes participating in the Olympics. So as a federation, Kenya Aquatics, we are working on helping the athletes who are right now heading to the Africa Junior Championship, and also those athletes who will be taking part in the World Championships in Doha, to be able to supporting them in their progress and in their quests to get that B time. We can get a B time. I know A time is also something very possible, because with a B time, with an A time now, our country, we can take a larger number. No, we walk away from depending on universality, like something just be handed on to you because you're not able to achieve that. But it is our desire, it is our goal as a federation, Kenya Aquatics, to be able to have athletes who can achieve that time through merit, not just to being handed over to us.
Well, just to put it into context, and so that you give us, the Kenyan scenario, let me take a look at the women's 50 meters freestyle, and the qualification standard is 24.7 seconds. I'm referring to, the standard that has been set by the IOC. So the universality place this time round is 1. For the number of looking at those who've qualified so far, 2 Australians, 2 Chinese, the Dutch, 1 each there, And then the Olympic consideration time is 24.82. How much work is needed, for that consideration? That's a 50-meter freestyle.
Right now, looking at our athletes who are swimming the 50 meters free, they are getting a 26. We're not too far away from it. We need just a little more effort in terms of now maybe the facilities. Looking at the facility that most of these athletes have out there, it's out of this world, I've had a privilege to be out there, like when we were in the World Championship in Hungary, and looking at the facilities those athletes have vis-a-vis what we have. If we were in the position to have those kind of facilities and programs, we can easily achieve them. So at 26 and at 24 is not really far. That means maybe probably in terms of maybe the land training and a bit. Some of these athletes are professionals, They get paid. They wake up in the morning and they're in the gym.
That's what they do.
And that's what they do for a living. But our athletes, most of them are students. They have to go to class, then swim probably once a day. And if they have an opportunity to go to the gym, maybe half an hour, 40 minutes. But if the structures change in a way that these athletes get more time in terms of their training, achieving a 24 will not be a big deal.
Oh, well, let's talk. That's the men, so that you get the context. Let's talk about the men's 50-meter freestyle. Qualifying time, 21.96. That's the Olympic qualifying time. Olympic consideration, 22.07. That's a small margin, 0.11 of a second. Coach Peter, how do you get an athlete to be a 22.05 athlete?
First, there is no two about it. It's hard work. Concentrate on all the aspects the coach is telling you to do. Ensure you train, add enough, those land training, dry land training.
Okay, just hold that thoughts. Well, we get back to a conversation on swimming. And Coach Peter, basically we were talking about Olympic qualification and the men's turning a Kenyan athlete into a 22.05 athlete such that they have Olympic consideration time.
Sure. Now, as I said earlier, changing that 22 to 21 is not that big work, given that the swimmer has to be willing to work, because most of these swimmers are grown-ups and they are past 18. So long as the swimmer is willing to give this and the coaches are availing themselves and the workout is there, is not that big deal, and I'm quite sure we are going to achieve. The path is quite clear now. Yeah, we are going to have swimmers in Olympics for freestyler.
All right. So eventually, there is something I have seen on your shirts. Kenya Aquatics, make waves, not excuses. Secretary,
absolutely.
As we close, just pass that message, and what is the future of swimming in Kenya, especially in counties where that event hasn't been, deep-rooted?
The future of swimming in Kenya is very bright. I can attest to this. On Saturday, I was in Wasingishu in Eldoret. There was a Mino-meet. This Mino-meet is actually the entry point of swimming, where we have athletes as young as 4 years, 5 years, taking part in a competition. And it was phenomenal watching those kids swim. Okay. Seeing a 6-year-old doing 100 meters IM, some of them, they're able to do butterfly right now. If we develop them from that age, this age right now, there's no reason why we won't have top swimmers in the next few years. So as our saying goes, the logo, from our logo, let's make waves, not excuses. In the past, there have been a lot of excuses that we can't do this, we can't do that. But we have seen practically that we can do it. Practically we can do it. Looking at every county right now, we have more than 9 counties who are registered, who have actually registered with the Registrar of Sports to be able to run the sport in their counties. And the goal of the National Federation right now, Kenya Aquatics, is to have 24 counties registered and running swimming. Not just registered, but activities happening.
Very well.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Collins Marigiri, Secretary General, Kenya Aquatics, and also he's a swimming coach. And we also have got Peter Mwangangi, who was coach of the junior team that was at the Africa Aquatics Zone 3 Championships in Kigali, Rwanda. And they did win this trophy. They were the second runners-up, 9 gold, the 28 silver medals, and 23 bronze. Those are the medals they won, plus this trophy. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
Well, we'll be taking a short break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about 3x3 basketball and also more about Olympic qualification and also the Sekafanda 18 championships plus Talanta Hela.